This shoe divides opinion like no other up to now. Some love it, some do not. Today I'm going to give you my initial review of the Nike Air Zoom Tempo Next Percent Flyknit. Welcome to the channel guys, my name's EDDBUD and here I specialise in running shoe reviews. If that's your bag, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when I launch those new videos. Some quick stats first on this brand new offering from Nike. Amazingly, a shoe that arrived on a Sunday. When did that ever happen? When was that a thing? By all accounts, a 10mm drop here from heel to toe. I've attempted to measure it using a ruler actually, and I think it's about right. The great thing with this shoe is you can actually see pretty much through at the heel where the insole kind of starts and obviously the outsole rubber ends. It weighs in at 308 grams in my UK size 11, which is a US size 12. There's a huge amount of midsole foam here. I'm not going to go too much into that. I'll talk about that a little later. I purchased this one with my own Earth credits for £169 directly from Nike, so I'm assuming it's not a fake. So we're definitely looking at a more expensive shoe than the Saucony Endorphin Speed and Nike's own Zoom Fly 3. Initial run in the shoe this morning was 7 miles, so that's 11.2 kilometers, an average of 6 minutes 57 per mile, that's 4 minutes 19 per kilometer. Let's get to the upper first. Oh, it smells damn good, this shoe. I really like the return to the Flyknit feel here. It gave me wonderful sentimental memories of wearing the Nike Zoom Fly Flyknit on Weston-super-Mare Beach. Also, it reminds me of the Vaporfly 4% Flyknit as well. Getting the shoe on is quite a struggle, but once it's on, feels good. I'd suggest it's probably about as hard to get on as the Alpha Fly, so if you do have that shoe, then you'll know what you're getting into. People getting very serious about this shoe, I'm not gonna. I found the toe box height a little low, but it was soon remedied with some thinner socks, and that meant faster speed. Really like the asymmetrical lacing here as well. Didn't feel any tightness over the top of the foot. I tied the shoe once and I just forgot about it. I didn't think about the upper again during my run. That midfoot cage really works out well. It's a nice tight grip around the top of the foot. Just felt like I didn't really have a shoe on. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Even though I did have a shoe on, I felt like I didn't have a shoe on. Yeah, doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to leave that in. It really does feel like a greatest hits of recent Nike shoes. You know, the Infinity Run is in there, a little bit with the upper. The Zoom Fly Flyknit as well. It does feel quite like that in the back of the shoe there. The Zoom Fly 3 even, there's little bits of that I actually quite liked. And of course the Alpha Fly. I mean, I think this is supposed to be like a training partner to that shoe. And I think all of those things put together could make this shoe really good for a certain group of people. And I'm in that group of people. There's quite a small heel counter in the back of the shoe there. It's one of the smaller ones that I've tested out of recent time. A little bit of Achilles padding. I found that lovely and soft. Just sort of cradled my Achilles like my Achilles was a newborn baby. The toe box was comfortable, perhaps if a little coarse, but didn't really have much of an issue with it. Didn't really think about it too much. You know, I'm nitpicking here. It's a bit like Princess and the Pea situation, you know? It's nothing to get upset about. It's breathable, certainly, and reminds me of nice cool October nights in the Zoom Fly Flyknit. Good days. Laces are a little short, but that's okay. No opportunity for a runner's knot. There's not the eyelets for it, so you don't need super long laces. And they're nice laces that don't give too much as well, they just stay put, and that's the sort of laces that we like. As I said, I barely noticed the upper really. I had a real ball out there in this shoe this morning. Target half marathon pace, straight off the bat, straight out the door, 6 minutes 57 per mile. I wouldn't suggest the shoe's even that narrow in the arch. Nice wide nature to the toe box. After my initial run, I'll give this a 2.6 out of 3 for the upper. Midsole and insole now. So the insole here within the I can't get it out. Come on. So the insole within the Tempo Next Percent, you can see it's this kind of crushed up foam. Very interesting. Really adds a nice bit of extra cushion there. I mean, we've got more Zoomx in here than React, which is a good thing. Makes for a lighter shoe. But this one feels more balanced to me than any of the other Nike offerings recently that have contained React. It's just a really nice balance to the shoe. I think perhaps having the pods there and the React there just balances out. Felt real nice. I certainly felt the Zoomx and the pods in the midfoot and the forefoot there. Yeah, I was in threshold pace there and just feeling really good. I had no trouble getting under 7 minutes per mile early morning, powered only by a banana and a lukewarm cup of coffee. And that was on tired legs as well. A 12-mile run the day before, and I've been ratcheting up the mileage the days previous to that. So make of that what you will. I think there's rigidity here similar to that in the Saucony Endorphin Speed and also the original version of the Nike Zoom Fly. The pods here in the forefoot of the shoe were just as prevalent as they were in the Alpha Fly. Again, as somebody who's worn that shoe quite a lot and owned it since March, I think I'm in a reasonably good place to say whether I can feel them or not. They feel just the same really. Very similar experience in this shoe to the Alpha Fly. It's just a bit heavier, more of a substantial upper. Again, make of that what you will. I'd suggest in terms of the midsole, it really isn't that far off the feel of the Alpha Fly in the forefoot. I can see why Nike perhaps have beefed up the rubber on the outsole here. I'll get to that shortly. I didn't really notice the React at all today in the rear of the shoe. This for me is a faster paced shoe. I've got to say guys, I'm not going to recommend this to anyone wanting to buy a daily shoe. This is for tempo and above training sessions. That's it. I can't really see anybody racing in it at 308 grams in my size, but it's going to be a nice durable option if you want to do some faster paced training sessions. Ain't going to work out for slower easy days or recovery. Not a daily shoe by any stretch, and I thoroughly agree with Joe Mullin on that one. It's just not designed for it. At 7:30 a mile it was great, and as I picked up the speed more and more it just felt better. I think the main design of it just coaxed me into running faster and just felt good today. It shouldn't have really, I should have run a recovery today, but hey, life is short, you got to enjoy yourself, right? You got to laugh, you got to find good things in life, positive things in life. In every running shoe, there's always a positive you can draw from it. So after my initial run, I'm going to give this a 2.6 out of 3 for midsole. Not the most versatile of shoes, so that's why I've dropped the score a little bit there. Certainly going to be good for some long runs, I think, where you're looking at tempo or above pace. Outsole now. We got lots to talk about here because there's a lot of outsole rubber.
It's good.
So more rubber obviously equals higher weight, but improved durability. Certainly at 308 grams, probably not a shoe I'm going to race in, but that's okay. Not a lot of racing going on right now, hey? But certainly a durable pace shoe nonetheless. I can see this one going for many, many, many miles before it finally hangs up its coat and has to give back the company laptop and the company car keys. Traction and grip felt really good on today's run. Couple of quite tight bends that I have to go on, and I think when you've got a midsole stack like this, it's always going to feel a little bit like you're teetering on the edge. Feel a little bit like a weeble. I didn't feel as if I was going to fall down, so I guess that makes me a weeble, because they wobble but they don't fall down. One thing I am quite perplexed at is the extra inch of rubber here that's just never going to touch the floor. There's just a load of rubber there that's never going to make it. You ain't ever going to see any wear there, young man. Actually, I think the tread here in the forefoot's not quite as thick even as the Alpha Fly. I mean in terms of the actual rubber thickness. Does feel a little bit different, perhaps they're not the same stuff. Hard to say. There's an odd bunched area of the rubber here that's obviously designed to stretch as the shoe bends. Yeah, look at that. Of course we don't have that on the Alpha Fly. That rubber then comes over and attaches to this midfoot section. Lots more thicker rubber here in the heel of the Tempo Next Percent. And much more pronounced ridges on this than the Alpha Fly. I'd certainly say it's more stable than the Fuel Cell TC, maybe similar in terms of stability to the Saucony Endorphin Pro. I think that's a little bit down to the more dense React here in the heel. And also something else that affects stability is the fact that that plate is directly under the insole here, certainly in the heel area of the shoe anyway. No issues on my normal terrain, on my normal route. I didn't feel the shoe was particularly loud, not really any louder than the Endorphin Speed. Maybe similar to the Zoom Fly 3 in terms of its loudness, or perhaps the TC, that's got quite a bit of rubber as well, but didn't really feel as particularly loud. Grip and push off was great. I think the speed and the effort today speaks for itself. I think a little bit too much rubber here in the back of the shoe. Bringing the weight down to under 300 grams would have been nice, so I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 3 for the outsole. Value now. So at £169, I think we've discovered the Achilles heel of this shoe. I think a fairer price for me for this would have been around about 140 or 150. I think mainly in regard to its heavier weight than some of its competitors. That side though, still a propulsive old number. If you want that Zoomx foam, you want the feeling of propulsion, it is there. And it's going to be a rather durable shoe. I see this lasting very well actually, aside from perhaps the bunched rubber here. Uppers looking durable enough. I think a higher price you pay sometimes for the name perhaps, but there's loads of products in the world that are like that. I just wish the shoe was a little cheaper, and I think it will put a few potential buyers off. As such, I'm going to give this 2 out of 3 for value. There are lots of other shoes on the market now that can match this one for performance, I feel. People are catching you up, Nike. I gotta say guys, don't believe the hype on this one, negative or positive. You know I'm an honest guy. I buy these shoes with my own cash. I've got no reason to say they're great. I've got nothing to gain from it. I had a ball in this shoe this morning. A really exhilarating, fun time. And surely that's what running's all about, right? If we're running and testing shoes out and we're not enjoying it, what's the point? Yes, I think the shoes are tad overpriced, but then loads of other running shoes are overpriced as well. They don't have swooshes on them, they have other things on them, other symbols. Certainly a propulsive shoe, but I don't think it's going to work for everybody. I think it's quite a niche shoe as well. Certainly not the most versatile. I like a versatile shoe, but this one's going to be for running fast when I want to. I think the heavier upper and the React used in the heel is bringing the weight up a little bit in the wrong direction perhaps, but I think it's going to be a really good training partner for the Alphafly. It's a very similar feel to me. I mean, if I do loads of training in this with the additional weight, when I put the Alphafly on, it's going to feel like a feather. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the Nike Air Zoom Tempo Next Percent Flyknit in the comments below. A very quick musical interlude. When I'm getting dressed to go to the office, I always like to look the part, and the music that plays in my mind is that of Paul Weller's Heavy Soul. There's some cracking tunes on here, but one that's always been my favourite is Peacock Suit. Some of the guitar sounds on Heavy Soul are just absolutely superb. Just slightly overdriven, beautiful drive to the guitars, and some excellent drumming as well on this one. Can't believe it was released back in 1997. Definitely want to check out if you've never heard it before. I mean, it was out some time ago. Paul Weller, Heavy Soul. That's a big old review today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got some opinions, you've got some views, some thoughts, let me know in the comments below. I try not to have too much expectation with a running shoe. It's a bit like gigs, you know, you can go to a gig and have this ginormous expectation it's going to be the greatest gig ever, and then it could be a real letdown. So I try not to do that with running shoes. I didn't have much of an expectation for this one today, but I really enjoyed it. Just goes to show, guys, got to give things a chance. Remember to hit that subscribe button, click the bell below for notifications of when I launch those new videos, and help the channel out by hitting the like button and sharing this video with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you